challenge yourself constantly.
You have to be a little bit patient.
The whole idea is you have to become content in singleness.
I'd be lying if I said I haven't fired off some Instagram DMs.
The word dating is not mentioned in the Bible.
I dedicated my life at Tomorrow World to Jesus.
Welcome to the Single Man Podcast, where we delve into candid conversations with Christian men about their journey to faith, advice for their younger selves, and navigating dating. With a heart to reach men from all walks of life, dive into real stories of redemption, growth, and the hope found in following Jesus. I'm your host, Carlton French, a 29-year-old single Christian, and I'm excited for you to listen to this week's episode. Let's jump into it.
I remember my first thing that I remember I really felt guilty over was pornography. I was introduced to it when I was 12 years old, and that led to an addiction. Starting at 12 years old, doing it every day because it was a curiosity thing. Led to an addiction, led to desiring more in that area. And so once you get into high school, then it's like you desire relationships, inappropriate relationships, and which it led to that. And then going into college, now being free from parent, from mom, from church, not being forced to do it. My first semester of freshman year, I went to a school in Fort Worth, a little private school, but it was a Texas Wesleyan University. But I went there and just was surrounded by now people that are wanting to party, wanting to do drugs, wanting to do alcohol, drink alcohol, things like that, inappropriate relationships. And so got it consumed by that, into that. And just, I remember several times of just getting high and just hating my life in that moment. So I just hit a low point, and I remember just curling up in a ball in the shower and just praying for the first time in a long time of God, I know I really haven't followed you, and I know I really haven't prayed to you, and I don't really know much. I know what I grew up learning, but I don't know much about you. But can you save me? That song came over, and I just remember just crying and hearing he's come to my rescue and he's come to save me. And so I remember just crying. So anyways, went through that and kind of rededicated my life. And then I knew I needed to leave that college. So I transferred to another college, and through that transferring, I rededicated my life, and I really wanted to pursue Jesus, but I really didn't know how to. But I just knew I needed to surround myself with good people. I knew everything needed to change on the outside, right? And so I did change everything on the outside. I didn't party anymore. I didn't drink anymore. But the only thing that really still stayed with me was addiction to pornography. And that's something I didn't share with anybody because I was still that. In that time, you didn't share that. That's a horrible, icky thing to share. So I brought it with me.
You probably thought you were alone in it.
Yes, I did. Didn't think any other Christians would be doing it, right?
Right.
Because no one shares that stuff. Even on stage in that time, and we started going to Baptist church. And in Baptist church, you ain't going to share that on stage. And so I never heard anybody else share it. So it was just like a hidden thing. I kept it secret.
Right.
And after a year, again, my addiction just grew and got into inappropriate relationships with girls there at college. And then fast forward, my parents get divorced my junior year. And that created, my dad just basically kind of abandoned us and left. Let's just say I didn't talk to him for the next 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
And it was a moment that I didn't realize how much I stuffed in emotionally. I remember in December of 2017, I again hit this low point of no one knows who I am. No one, my closest friends don't know what's really going on. My girlfriend at that time doesn't know what I'm doing. And I'm also a leader at the porch stuff. Porch, church. I was a leader. I was leading groups and stuff. And
you're leading other people.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm over here behind closed doors, doing things that are hurting me, hurting other people. And me not even knowing, just so oblivious and so numb to it. And so hit a low point, and I just remember that feeling of I knew that this whole time I was holding stuff in, even from that time from switching over my freshman year. I knew this whole time that it was going to take me having to confess and be vulnerable and trust the Lord for me to be free from these things, right? And I knew that. And so at that point, I was in such a low spot and so low place in my life that I was like, I don't care. I want freedom. Like, God, I want this. Like, I want to be free from this. I want to be done running, hiding, whatever it is. Like, I want to be done with this. And so, God, if that means me losing everything, so be it, right? So be it. And so the next day, literally called my girlfriend. Hey, I got to share some things with you. Confessed to her. Of course, heartbroken, shocked, confused. Led to multiple conversations with my friends, my mentor. I had a mentor at that time that was mentor for like the 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't know any of that stuff.
Wow.
And I was supposed to be confessing to him, sharing things with him.
Right.
He didn't know any of that stuff. So even him, but it was kind of cool because he was like, I knew there's something there, but I was always praying that God would reveal it at some point in your life for you. I'm not going to force you to do it, but I wanted you to get to that point where you knew something's going. But that's a different story. But anyways, so got to the point of just confessing, and I started a program called Regeneration, which is at Watermark. It's called Regen, and it's a discipleship program, recovery program, and just went all in. You know, was not perfect. Even through that program of 1 year program, I still messed up a lot, and so really it took years for me to get up to a place where I feel I was feeling closer to God. I was really healing, and I was really continuously and daily confessing, because the confessing part is the hardest part.